come in here at this point of time and just look at individual netas and how they have performed as far as women are concerned. I know women are a big Labharti group for the Prime Minister, and the word Labharti is bandied around much by the BJP. But it's not just the BJP, and it's not just Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The fact is, and Maya maybe can speak about it in a bit as well. It actually, to my mind, started with J. Jayalalitha promising, free mixers and pressure cookers and washing machines to women in her state. Then, of course, you have someone like, Bihar's current chief minister who's with Prime Minister Modi right now, Nitish Kumar, giving out cycles, winning. You have someone like Shivraj Singh Chauhan and his Ladli Beti Yojana as well. So it's not just one party. Almost every party has tried to cultivate this vote bank.
Good evening, Shreya. Happy Women's Day to all the viewers of Mirror Now. Look, we do not have to confuse freebies with welfare. And I can tell you this, when I have been on the ground talking to the women voters in tribal villages of Odisha, which is again traditionally not a BJP state, one thing for sure, in rural India, women can see through freebies. They understand that these monetary freebies will not last forever. They understand that when a free cycle is being given to them, it doesn't mean that it comes with development for sure. So women voters in rural India now, perhaps in the last 5 or 10 years, are more aware of what's going on, what their requirements are. Of course, you can say that previous chief ministers of any party have come up with a lot of promises, a lot of delivery, a lot of implementation. But what women are looking for today is empowerment. They want opportunities to work. They are not dependent on their husbands, or rather they do not want to be dependent on their husbands. When you talk to them about digital payments or bank accounts, they say we want more control over our money. We do not want the male heads or the household head to take care of the money for us. We want to do it ourselves. When you talk to them about accessing formal credit, women working in FPOs or self-help groups will say, we want to access loans, we want to pay it back on time, and we want to create more employment opportunities within our community, at the local level, at the village level. So the women of today want to be enabled, they want to empower themselves. And let me tell you, Shreya, no politician in India, no leader in India, be it a panchayat election, an MLA election, MP election, prime minister election, anything, if you cannot have the women voters on your side, if you cannot convince them, and convincing means proper developmental idea, not just endless freebies, you cannot have their votes. In rural India especially, the women voters will really marvel you with their thinking, with how they think, with how they approach the elections. So I think that's a very welcome change, and I hope we see more of it, because in this political setup now, in the future, it's going to be the women voters who are going to turn the tide towards one or the other party in every election. We saw it in Uttar Pradesh when women came out and spoke highly about the law and order situation. They spoke highly about the COVID welfare. They spoke their mind. If they had any grievances also, they spoke their mind. But they were very clear about what they wanted. And first of all, they want an atmosphere where they feel safe, and they want to be enabled. They don't want to be given a fish every day, so as to say. They want to learn how to catch a fish.
No, I can attest to that as someone who comes from Uttar Pradesh, that the reason, one of the big reasons that Yogi Adityanath came back to power was the fact that he was seen to be extremely efficient when it came to law and order, and for women. And I think for most citizens who especially live in urban India, who live in cities and towns, security is a big issue. It's a major issue. For me, it's the highlight issue. It's the number one issue that I'll vote for. But Maya Sharma, do you agree with Tushar Gupta when he says that, when women vote, they just don't vote on freebies or SOPs. They will also vote on the development that their state or their city or their village is seeing. Is that something that you've seen happen in Karnataka, or did women vote for the Congress government purely based on what they were offering?
Well, like you said, there are women voters and there are women voters. Certainly women in urban areas, women who have the access to information, have the access to news media, will be able to think of larger issues. But really speaking, the woman who is struggling to survive, struggling to feed her family in a rural area, or perhaps even in an urban slum, may be thinking more of if I can travel by bus and it's free, that's useful for me. If I can get my gas cylinder, if I can get my electricity, 200 units free electricity, that is very useful for me. By the nature of the life, by the nature of the daily survival of their life, they may be thinking of these things, whether you call them freebies, SOPs, or benefits for households. They may be thinking of that more than a larger thing, a larger picture. They may be feeling, how is my life better if I vote for this party? Will I be able to get my rations? Will I be able to feed my children better? That may very well be the case for women who don't have the education, who don't have the empowerment, which of course brings us back to what you were mentioning earlier as well. It's not just about women voters. We should be able to vote for women. That is a question which all political parties with men at the head seem to be quite sure about. They don't really want to hand over that power. If we have more women standing for election, then perhaps there will be some more empathy and more understanding going down. The issue which is important to you of safety. If there's a woman taking a call, then perhaps there will be even more awareness of what is involved. So I think we need to look not just to the women voters, but at the women candidates for really to talk of progress and empathy towards women.
The numbers tell you the story. Why political parties are happy to give SOPs to women but not tickets. 15% women representation in the Lok Sabha, 9% in state assemblies. If that doesn't tell you a story, I don't know what does. Piyush, before I end this chat, since you are also someone who visits the field, speaks to people across India, urban and rural, do you agree with what Tushar is saying, that women are not just looking at that free ration and sasta cylinder and that 1,000 rupees coming into their bank account every month courtesy the government, but they are looking at the larger picture. They are looking at development of schools. They are looking at other things as well. Is that what your experience says? Or is that an idealistic expectation from someone who's struggling to feed her children every day?
So I will agree with him partially, not fully. I won't agree with him because I have been to the field on ground in rural parts and also especially in the tribal parts. What we feel, yes, welfare schemes are actually, helping government or parties to win, which is why which is why a lot of parties or governments are giving a lot of welfare schemes, because they see that yes, it do impact them in a positive way. Otherwise, they won't. Second thing, but if I want to add to Tusarji's point, yes, they are looking for the empowerment, but more in the terms every year we are getting new voters, new women voters. They are actually looking for education, good health schemes or your infrastructure. But in the UP, I want to add something. As you said, you are also from UP. So law and order was one of the major positive feedback which we got from the women, and especially from the women, especially from the Muslim women, I would say, because one statement, I was on the field and they made that जब योगी जी आए तो हमारी भी माँ और बेटियां जो है वो हम भी सुरक्षित हुए, हमारी भी माँ बेटियां जो है बहनें हैं वो सुरक्षित हुई है, and this came from a women voters. So Muslim women voters, just for the law and order, they did voted for BJP, which is actually considered as the anti-BJP votes, but still. So yes, they are looking for the empowerment, law and order, not just freebies.
That's illustrative. So it's not just freebies, and some people will call them freebies, some people will call them welfare schemes. But for women, what also matters is law and order, the security, her daughter's security, her family's security. This is a long conversation, and there is part two. There's a second part to this conversation about women representation in state assemblies and the Lok Sabha as well. But that's a conversation for another time. Maya Sharma, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Piyush, thank you very much. And Tushar, thank you very much for joining us as well.